Start by building a thread base at the rear of the hook with the 6/0 olive Danville thread. I'm going to tie in my olive D-rib. Bring the thread back up to where we started. I'm going to wrap the D-rib forward. Build the abdomen. And then tie it off. Now at this point, I'm going to whip finish and trim my thread. And now start with the 6/0 black Danville thread. We're going to get some of this dyed done elk hair. Get a healthy chunk. Remember, before you stack this, always grab the butt end here to pull all the loose fibers, the underfur, maybe even run a pick through it. It'll stack much cleaner the neater it is. You stack them so all the tips are lined up even. I'm going to take this done elk hair, lay it on top of the shank, tap it down 4 or 5 times tightly. Now this point is very important. I like to pull all the hair up and then get that thread up underneath it, kind of like I'm trying to tighten up a parachute post on a dry fly, mayfly. This clumps all that elk hair together really neatly so there's no strays, but it also helps in the overall durability of this fly. Now we're going to come in and remove all the butt ends of this. Get any strays. I'm going to trim all this up. It's more of a taper here at the front. Now at this point it's important also to apply a little bit of head cement in all those butt sections of the elk hair. Let it soak in that and then lash it down with the thread. That fly will never fall apart. It will never shed any elk hair. This is a fluorescent cerise McFly Foam that I like to use for the indicator post of this fly. It's got the consistency of a woman's stocking. It's got stretch, which is very important. You peel off a chunk, it's kind of like string cheese. Very buoyant. We use this for the post. I might pull out a good length of this thread and hook a piece of this cerise McFly Foam onto the thread. Draw it down on the fly. This is going to be the post. Wrap a few around this way. Next, I'm going to put in the saddle hackle. This is some size 14 dun saddle. And I'm going to wax up this thread in preparation for this super fine black dubbing rope that I'm going to create to wind onto the thorax. Make sure you get both sides of that foam post. So what this does is it provides that dark front part of the fly, but also acts as a cushion for the quill of this saddle hackle, so that a tooth of a trout doesn't cut it and make your fly unwind while you're fishing. Very liberal with this hackle. The more that goes on it, the higher it'll float. Anytime I'm tying a fly that I want to keep around for a while, I'll always throw in that second whip finish. Number one reason flies fall apart is the tire doesn't use head cement and only one whip finish. After 3 or 4 fish, it just unravels. A little bit of head cement on there. Trim the hackle. And tidy up the eye of the hook there. Of course, it doesn't hurt to leave an antenna or two there at the front, but we're not going to this time. Now this McFly Foam is very stretchy, so I like to give it a stretch and then slowly cut it right at the tip of the hackles. It'll spring right back down into them and kind of lay flat. That's going to be your indicator, and it's going to help the fly float very, very well. Now I'm going to turn this upside down. Trim all the hackle off the bottom of the thorax. There's a dry and dropper rig. I've got some 4 or 5X leader tied on. Right there at the rear end I've got my 5 or 6X tippet tied to the hook shank itself, which I drop down about 14 to 18 inches and tie on maybe a patchouli pupa or something like this. Great subsurface caddis fly. But this is what you see as a fisherman. It's bright. You won't lose it in foam or leaves in the fall. But from the fish's perspective, that's what you got there. Heck, I'd eat it.